Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Draft Geek Podcast. I'm Brian Johannes, and on this episode, we're getting 2 episodes this week just because a lot to cover. I want to kind of give you, as the NFL football season is fastly approaching, going to start this Thursday with the Bears and the Packers. I kind of wanted to give my final thoughts before the start of the season. We just had cut down day. So a lot of moves were made, including some high-profile trades. So I'm going to kind of go through the latest NFL news and then revisit my NFL playoff predictions. I gave those previously. With some of these moves, it's forced me to tweak them, and since the start of the season hasn't happened yet, I feel like I still got a little bit of a grace period. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But let's start off with the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans were very busy this past Saturday. It all started with the trading of Jadeveon Clowney, and this was a rumored move to be made for quite a while. Teams like the Miami Dolphins, the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Jets, the Washington Redskins, Seattle Seahawks, all these teams were rumored. I put out a video on YouTube previously talking about my thoughts on it. Well, the move officially happened, and it looked like the Dolphins were going to be the front runner, and they ended up going to the Seattle Seahawks. And this had to be a good move for Clowney himself, because one of the teams he wanted to go to was either the Eagles or the Seahawks, going to a playoff contender. So he has to be happy. But if I was a Texans fan seeing this move, I had to be furious. I mean, even the rumor, we had heard, I think the best deal out there that you'd heard about was to the Eagles. Big V, their former left tackle, who filled in pretty nicely for Jason Peters. Him, Nelson Aguilar, and I believe a third round pick. That seemed like the best rumored deal that was out there. Seattle's rumored deal was Justin Britt, Jermaine Ifedi, and then a pick too, probably a third round pick, maybe a second round pick. Instead, the Texans traded Clowney to Seattle. Seattle got rid of Barkevious Mingo, Jake Martin, and a third-round pick to get Jadeveon Clowney. Now, I get that Houston didn't have a whole lot of leverage. Jadeveon Clowney was on a 1-year deal. He can't re-sign with that team. They dropped the ball big time not trading him this past summer. But really, Barkevious Mingo, Jake Martin, those are the 2 guys that you got. I just was flabbergasted by this move. Barkevious Mingo has been a guy that was a former top 10 pick with the Browns, busted, has been on a few teams, has never been a big-time contributor. Jake Martin is, only a couple years into this league, had a few sacks, but maybe he's this guy that's going to come out of nowhere and be a solid starter, but you're getting a solid starter, a guy that's probably was going to get cut by the Seahawks, and a third-round pick for Jadeveon Clowney. You couldn't have got a second-round pick out of this. You couldn't have got Justin Britt or Jermaine Ifedi, and I'm not a big Jermaine Ifedi fan. But come on. This is Texans fans. I feel for you with this pick, this trade. It was a complete head-scratcher. I think one of the worst trades we've seen in the last several years. Now, for Seattle, not that big of a deal. It's a big deal, don't get me wrong. They get Jadeveon Clowney to this defense. So you're gonna have Jadeveon Clowney on one side, Ezekiel Ansah on the other side. This is a team that when they traded away Frank Clark, there wasn't a whole lot of promise for their pass rushing situation. They had Frank Clark, and that was about it. They drafted L.J. Collier. He's hurt to start this season. He wasn't this big feared pass rusher either. Now you get those 2 bookends of Clowney and Ezekiel Ansah, and this defense, which was pretty solid, pretty good, just gets even that much better. Now, realistically, just by this one move, they're in contention. I think this is going to push them right even with those Los Angeles Rams. The offense is going to be what the offense is. They're going to rely heavily on Chris Carson. They got Russell Wilson. If DK Metcalf turns into the stud that everyone thought he was going to be coming into the draft, this is a team that's for sure a playoff lock. And getting Clowney was a big part of that. Now, Houston wasn't done with the Clowney move. If they would have just done the Clowney move, you just shaking your head. This is a team that's not going to go very far. But then they ended up still trading with the Dolphins, and they ended up getting Laremy Tunsil and Kenny Stills. So they trade away. They get Laremy Tunsil, left tackle, one of the best left tackle prospects I've graded in the last 5 to 6 to 7 years. Kenny Stills probably would have been cut, was rumored to be cut, but another deep threat. They get those two, and they send to the Dolphins Julian Davenport, their left tackle, guy out of Bucknell, who had some promise. He's really struggled lately, or in the NFL. And then they also sent 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick. So, yes, you get Laremy Tunsil, and he's going to be Houston's best offensive lineman. They get some immediate help for Deshaun Watson. But you gave up a ton for him. Okay? And after not getting much back for Jadeveon Clowney, and you give up a ton, this is another example of why the Texans need a general manager. Bill O'Brien has not done well being in charge. Yes, I like the move to getting Laremy Tunsil. I'm shocked that the Dolphins traded him away since he's young and talented, but you gave up way too much for him. You didn't get crap for Clowney, and now you give up too much for Laremy Tunsil. So a lot of question marks in Houston. They're going all in. They also traded away Martinez Rankin, a guy they're probably going to cut, to the Chiefs to get Carlos Hyde, a guy that the Chiefs were probably going to get cut. And, gives them some depth at that running back position since Lamar Miller was hurt. Texans are going all in on this year. They've got Deshaun Watson on a rookie deal, but they want to load up, and they did that with Laremy Tunsil, but they're mortgaging the future for this. So if they don't win the Super Bowl and this year or the next couple of years, they're threatening to cripple this team in the future because they're going all in right now. We'll see how it pays off. I'm not a big fan of the moves, even though I like some Tunsil. Should be interesting to see how this plays out.